Well, and then we had hot dog versus popcorn, Bronson Reed versus Sami Zayn, where Gunther distracted Sammy by standing there in the arena along with another 15,000 people. And Bronson splashed Sammy and beat him. And again, we're getting Gunther and Sammy at the pay-per-view. It could have been Gunther and Brock. And, the rating scale may have been broken over here. And then we got Shaky Nakamura and Jey Uso in our television main event, which went about like you would expect it would until finally at ringside, Jimmy Uso and Solo appear. I know you're never going to believe this, but they appeared. But suddenly Cody and Seth tackled them and got a big fight. And Cody fought Jimmy through... Cody fought Jimmy. It sounds like I'm a high school fucking... Cody fought Jimmy through the entranceway while Seth and Solo stayed out at ringside, which allowed Drew McIntyre to bombard Seth from behind and run him into the post and then DDT him on the floor. So Seth Rollins is out of action. He's incapacitated. But in the ring, the match was still going on. So Jay hit Shaky with a spear. Boom, 1, 2, 3. But meanwhile, Cody and Jimmy were in the back of the arena and fought out into the back door in the rain. A rainy night in Chicago. Just a rainy night in Chicago.
Come on. We're in the middle of a big review.
And then suddenly two wrestlers fight out the back door. So they fought out the back door is what they did.
Is that what they did?
That's what they did. And then, boom, boom, boom. He threw Jimmy out the back door and he turned around and he beat up Solo. And then The Rock suddenly out of nowhere from behind tackled fucking Cody and hammered him and beat him up with everything in the fucking back area there and ran him into the walls and then threw him out the back door into the rain and followed him out there. And now we know Seth Franklin Rollins, Cody's partner in the big greatest tag match ever, has been laid out by Drew McIntyre at ringside. What we don't know is why that no other motherfucker from a baby face.
Thank you. I thought you were going to ignore that because it was The Rock. That was my biggest issue.
What we don't know, I got to get the caveat out. What we don't know is why that every other babyface in the locker room or every referee or every official with the promotion that is, or anybody that has a monetary interest in the WrestleMania main events happening as they are advertised, or the Chicago Police Department.
Adam Pearce. Where's Adam Pearce?
Adam Pearce wasn't even on the show here. Was he? Did I miss him when I zipped through all the backstage bullshit?
Oh, I don't know. Now you're making me doubt it, too.
But also, what about the Rosemont? I know the Chicago PD are out of jurisdiction. Rosemont, Illinois has 2 deputies and a mail clerk. So they could have sent, they don't have a squad car. They've got a fucking sidecar, but they could have sent somebody over. But nobody as this thing goes very long. And it was good. Rock is kicking the shit out of Cody and running him into everything and beating him up and kicking him and trash talking him. And he runs Cody into the bus and Cody comes up bleeding. And Rock's cutting the promo on him the whole time, getting bleeped every once in a while, and then wipes Cody's blood on the weight belt and cuts the promo to Mama Rhodes. And he's fulfilled what he whispered to Cody, and then he told Cody. And they played this unedited, obviously, on the big screen in the building because all the people popped, but he's got Cody bleeding and beat up and shirt ripped off, and he's trash talking him, and he looks at his face and he says, "This is what happens when you fuck with the final boss." And they bleeped the word fuck on TV, but the people heard it. They popped. It was a great action outside. We had legitimate blood, which we've needed in angles like this. It's The Rock. It's Cody. It's before WrestleMania. But nobody tried to do any fucking thing to get in the way.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the positives. The Rock was great as a heel here. Cody took a great ass kicking. The rain added a lot.
Yeah.
It added a lot. It looked great back then. I mean, it looked great, but no one did anything. Dusty Rhodes regularly got his ass kicked. And if it was in a cage, baby faces would be trying to climb that thing like they were trying to get money.
Yes.
And if it was just him getting his ass kicked, the baby faces you didn't even realize were friends with him, would hit the ring to try to stop whatever was happening and protect him and at times cradle him. I mean, it was ridiculous.
But they would be thrown out or laid out, or they'd be locked in a fucking room somewhere, or there would be some level of explanation, right?
And that's just Dusty as an example, because when we're talking Cody, a lot of times you think about the way Dusty would do things. That was the thing missing. The Rock kicking Cody's ass was great. The Rock was great here. But it went like 5 minutes. If it didn't go 5 minutes, it felt like it went 5 minutes with no one except the cameraman.
Yes.
Seemingly aware of this. The monitors must have all been turned off.
And at some point you would think the cameraman might say, he might hurt this guy real bad. Maybe I ought to call somebody.
Just anything. Baby faces trying to get through the door. Baby faces getting tossed away by someone. I don't even know who.
Solo.
Something.
Because that's the thing, is they've made Solo a monster. Well, Cody fucking, I can't remember what he did to Solo, but he whacked him with something pretty good at the back door, and then we never saw him again. 5 minutes later, he'd had been hit by a fucking truck. And so I know they don't want to distract attention and focus from their main point, but having that on the periphery at the back door, just this big skirmish going on, people trying to come through. They pulled a fucking front loader up to the back door. They're having to run around the ticket fucking concourse. I don't know. Right? But a little service to that would have gone a long way. But otherwise, great stuff.
What do you think would end the show this way?
Well, that's the way the wrestling show used to end, with the goddamn biggest deal on it, didn't it? Always. And then we've gotten away from that because the wrestling shows have gotten so long, boring, and monotonous that most of the people are not still there at the end of the thing. But that's really what should happen, because that's what used to keep people tuned in, was to see the main event or the whatever was going to happen at the end. It's breaking down in fucking Tulsa, whatever. And now it's just kind of a fucking fart when you go off the air sometimes. Well, the guy won. Play his music. We'll see you later.
Well, we'll see what happens, because that's one of the big differences between SmackDown and Raw. SmackDown, they'll peak sometimes with the last segment, but that's 9:45 to 10 o'clock. Raw, the last segment, is approaching 11 p.m. It's always the lowest of the night. If you start doing stuff like this, maybe some people will hang around. I mean, it'll be interesting.
Well, and also with here's another thing. They didn't waste anything. I know some people will make this correlation, so I will nip it in the bud now. We have blistered Tony Khan in the past for putting a big angle on at the end of the show when the fucking viewership was lowest, right? He would know that. Why'd you do that, you numbskull? Well, here's the thing. This is Raw. They have not only a week and a half or whatever now before WrestleMania, but their highest rated show, SmackDown, that has even more viewers, can recap this on Friday night for the benefit of anybody who may have missed it. So when Tony does something on Dynamite, when nobody's watching Dynamite, there's still more people than's watching any of his other shows that he can recap it on. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, I mean, it was an episode that told you never know when The Rock will be there, and you never know when something big will happen at the very end. It'll be interesting the more they start doing things like this, if it changes the viewing patterns.
Yeah, and I think that's what they've needed.
But that was Raw, and that ended at 11 p.m. And at that point, Jim, depending on what city you are, if you're not in a city, you're shit out of luck. But if you're in a city, maybe you could order some food. It's pretty late. But what do? It's Raw. It's over. It's late. You need a good, healthy moo. You need a good, healthy moo and a meal. And we know some chef-crafted chefs. Actually, the chefs are not crafted. We know some chefs that will craft some stuff for you. And here's the man who will craft the rest of this Read Mr. Jim Cornette.
Oh my God. And I don't think it's really healthy if you're eating dinner at 11 o'clock at night Eastern. Now, maybe if you're out there on the West Coast, they dine late out there because of all their traffic problems, right? But
what if you're not going to bed? If you're not going to bed till 4, that's fine. That blow your mind?
That made me hit my wrong button. But here's the thing that you could do. What you can do is you can just don't think about anything that was just said. Just get that completely out of your mind. And instead, think about being hungry. Folks, a lot of times you're hungry, but you got no time to eat. A lot of times you're hungry, but you got no time to go to the store. A lot of times you're hungry, but you got no time to cook, right? What's a common factor in this whole thread? You got no time. It's a hurry, scurry, hustle, and bustle type of world these days. You're flitting here, you're flitting there. You got work, you got school, you got kids. A lot of people have children. I've heard this is a growing trend. And you don't have time to sit down and shop and, well, you don't sit down when you shop unless you're one of those fat fucks that rides around on a goddamn fucking hover round at Walmart, but in that case, you're going to die soon anyway. But if you want to get healthy,
let's not talk about when people will die. Let's talk about what people can eat to stay alive.
Well, that's because fresh, never frozen food is what you need to eat, and you need to eat more quality stuff than what you might be stuffing down your gullet. But if you don't have any time, you can't spend any time on it. That's why our friends at Factor have the whole thing worked out. At factormeals.com, they will send you meals that are either calorie smart or keto or protein plus or vegan and veggie or whatever you choose, they'll send. But they only take 2 minutes to eat or 2 minutes to heat. Let me try that again.
You can eat them in as much time as you need. There is no time limit on how long you need to ingest your meal.
You can take all the time you want. If you're in a contest, you could eat them in less than 2 minutes. But they take 2 minutes to heat, and then you can eat them at your leisure and convenience. Folks, they've got a weekly menu of 35 different options and more than 60 add-ons every week. They got breakfast, they got on-the-go lunch, they got stay at home, be hooked up to a machine lunch. They've got snacks, they got beverages, stuff to make you feel good all day long. Apparently, Viagra would be, I guess, involved in this.
No.
Well, it said feel good all day long.
Viagra is not involved in this in any way whatsoever.
Just vegan and veggie.
Well, not just vegan and veggie, but also keto, also calorie
but no
smart.
Viagra, because a lot of people have gone on this new diet that's a fad thing. It's the vegan veggie Viagra diet, but that's not this.
Who's doing that?
Well, a lot of people out in California. But if you're looking for gourmet meals, well, try meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, truffle butter. I didn't know you could make butter out of truffles. I've had nut butter before. What? What's the more you grind up?
Right down your funnel, yeah.
Grind. They also make almond milk. Did you know
I did know that. Of course I knew that.
And nut butter and... You can choose broccolini and asparagus.
Broccolini, I've had that. That's delicious.
Yeah, well, there you go. Have some more. Because these are no fuss, no mess meals. The Factor meals eliminate the hassles of prepping, cooking, and cleaning up. You take your little... It's in a little plastic tray. It's like something they'd give you in jail. And once you finish eating out of this, you just fucking toss it in the garbage. It's good to nobody at that point. You're not going to rewash this thing and use it again. So you just eliminate it. And then boom, you're cleaned up. Just heat this up and eat it and then ask no questions and throw the evidence away. People will not know where it came from.
What? I don't know what it has to do with anything. Eat it and enjoy it and tell whoever you want that you enjoyed it and you ate it.
Well, yeah, if it's any of their business, if they question you hard enough, you've got to admit something, go ahead and tell them. And they tailor this to your schedule, folks. You can customize your weekly meals with the flexibility to get as much or as little as you need. Let's say you figure I only need a couple of walnuts and a grape to get me by on Tuesday. But then some days you may want to eat normally as humans would. And you can pause or reschedule deliveries to suit your lifestyle. Let's say you're going to be going down the river for a few months. You can put the pause on it, and that way they won't pile up on your front porch while you're boarding with the warden on the bounty of the county. Folks, again, they're celebrating Earth Day all month long. Now, that sounds like a contradiction in terms. It should be Earth Month, but only at factormeals.com do you get Earth Month instead of Earth Day. And you can look out right now for on factormeals.com, Brian. This is very important. Look out for the Earth Month Eats badge on the menu to determine which of the fine foodstuffs contain the lowest carbon footprint meals. So that means that these meals, fewer people have stepped on these meals than any of the other regular meals offered at factormeals.com. Some of those get walked on quite often.
No.
But they've got the Tony Atlas special.
No, they don't.
Head to factormeals.com right now, folks, /JCE50. Use that code JCE50 to get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next box. When have you ever been able to get money off your first box and money off your second box at the same time? This is unheard of. It's a whole new deal. Factormeals.com /JCE50. 50%, the code is JCE50. I know you might have to put it in twice. That's because you're going to get two deals, 50% off your first box, 20% off your next box. And then, well, after that, you're going to goddamn get greedy then. So you're not getting any more than that. They've practically given you half your they've given you more than half your food here. Fucking greedy bastards.
No one's being greedy here, but get your good eats, get the good food, the healthy food, the chef-crafted food from Factor.
You can't even really call them eats. It's not like it's some kind of diner somewhere on the side of the road, some greasy spoon. These are chef-crafted, prepared meals here by crafted chefs, and they do arts and crafts. Also, some of the chefs do arts and crafts as therapy from where they were in the home.
No one was in the home. The home. No one was in the home, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
but...
you know, just by goddamn odds, somebody involved in this whole chain of custody here, from the customer to us to the people over at Factor Meals, has been in a home before, I'm sure. Probably against their will. You can't just make a blanket statement.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about your home, and let's talk about the food in your home, in your kitchen, the food you need to cook and you don't have the time. Treat yourself well with Factor.
Right here. Just pop this stuff in and eat it. Like I said, cover your tracks afterwards. They'll be none the wiser.
You'll eat it in 2 minutes or less, guaranteed by Jim Cornette.
Yes, just start shoveling it in. Don't even use silverware.
No,
folks.
No. Seriously, it's delicious, so take your time.
If it's delicious, you'd want to eat it quicker before somebody steals it from you.
But if you take your time, you savor each bite, you savor every taste, you really enjoy the meal.
Well, then it might get cold.
Well, you can't take too much time.
Well, you can't just sit on this forever. Don't sit on this forever, folks. Because sometimes you'd be sitting somewhere else forever. Head to factormeals.com right now, /JCE50 to get all these percentages off all of your food, and don't worry about it. Things will be fine.
That's right, they'll be fine with Factor. What's that promo code one more time, Jim?
JCE50.